Now, I would say, of all the people I know that could comment on the game shows, it's someone who's been on more game shows than anybody else I know, and it's another edition of Ask Mike and Todd. Todd Ranck is back, and I guess this today's category is right up your alley.
Yeah, I was sending you some notes earlier, giving you a little bit of my list, and again, it's all up to whoever wants to say. I mean, I've been on a couple shows that I didn't even put on my top 5 because I just simply don't believe they're in the realm of the top 5 game shows that I've enjoyed in my lifetime. But there's so many out there. It's a lot of fun to talk about. But, yeah, I mean, Price is Right is just a staple. You got to put that at the top. I think anybody who doesn't put that number 1, they don't know game shows. But beyond that, again, a lot of people love that Jeopardy. I just was never into it. You know, you talk about those. That Pressure Luck with the whammy was always great.
Right, the Pressure Luck, he went with that. That just missed my list. I mean, the Pressure Luck, there was more of the, there was no skill involved in that game. You just hit a button.
Which I actually like those games. When you see my list, Deal or No Deal, you're just picking suitcases. Pressure Luck.
Well, you were on Deal or No Deal.
I was on the Deal or No Deal. I put that in the middle of my list only because, again, as I'm looking at just the longevity of these shows and kind of the nuances of what they do, I'm a connoisseur of game shows, so I love these things. But
well, how many in total? I can only I remember 4,
and those were the big 4. But I ended up doing 6 shows.
Ooh.
And the main ones, those are the big boys: The Price is Right, The Wheel of Fortune, The Fear Factor. I didn't even put Fear Factor on my list. And then that Deal or No Deal. I did that weird solitary one. We don't need to tell people about that one. That's not a good one to watch.
Ooh, that's solitary. That's right. I remember busting your stones about what you ended up quitting on.
Yeah, and that was a tough show to watch. I'll be honest. I told the parents not to turn that one on. And then I did do another one in the Australia when they took me over to Australia and I did a game show. It never made it to the States, but it was called Heads or Tails. And it was very similar to Deal or No Deal, although you pressed a lever, and it was a giant coin that went shooting across the stage and hit a baseball glove, a giant baseball glove, and then rolled down, and whatever it fell on, heads or tails.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't have a lot of thinking in it at all.
None.
Well, real quick, what was the solitary? That was on some wacky game show station. What was the network that was on?
I think it was on, I think the channel was Fox Reality TV. So every show on there was reality television.
Right. I remember watching that one and was like, ooh. But you had to wear like some sort of sweatsuit and like run around the room for like an hour or something.
Yeah, well, they just did different. It was almost like, if I can describe it to the listeners, it's almost like it was like Survivor, but in solitary confinement.
Ooh.
So you would do these different challenges to gain immunity or to gain a meal to eat or to be first and you wouldn't be eliminated. And there were 9 of us in 9 different pods or solitary confinement places. And you didn't see the other contestants. I never talked to them. I never saw them. And one of the obstacles, one of the very first ones, we had to put this almost what was like a raincoat on. And you had to collect your own sweat. So you had to build up your own sweat somehow, get it onto this raincoat that you were wearing, and then squeeze and drain it out into a vial.
I like that.
It was devastating. And mind you, we were there for days upon days, and you didn't shower, so just the smell, the stench was overwhelming.
Ooh.
It was tough. But the last one was one I dressed in a monkey suit. Not a monkey suit, a gorilla suit.
You were the gorilla suit. That's right.
Yeah, I was in the gorilla suit, and they had me eating banana after banana. I must have eaten a dozen bananas. And it was getting close to the point where those were going to come back up on me.
Well, I like this. I found it on Wikipedia. Solitary 4.0. The contestants, you are listed as contestant in Pod 5. Todd Ranck, age 31, veteran game show contestant, bartender. You were eliminated 5th in there. They had what's it called? Let's see. So it was over a series of weeks, and you were the winner of the Twisted Twister. That was one that you won.
Yes.
You remember that?
And the keyboard challenge. I did that one as well.
The human sprinkler bartending, you finished just out. You finished in to stay in. You didn't quit the slap happy. The twisted twister, you won. The beach ball tower, that's where you lose. The gorilla suit, that's where you go out.
And let me tell you, I mean, I put in 25 rounds, Gill, of running around that 8x8 cubicle. It wasn't even 8x8. Who are we kidding? It was about 6x6. And I was in 25 rounds.
Now, what kind
and
of
I finally said I've had enough after 25 rounds.
What kind of sleep did you get on that show?
Right. You had no clue what time it was of day or night. And they chose to you when you would sleep.
Ooh.
So you'd go about 36 hours without sleep, and then they'd give you an hour's sleep. So when I tell you it was getting itchy in there, and I was at one point in a state of dementia, it started getting out of hand.
I remember telling you how disappointed I was that you went out on that. I said, how did you go out? You let that guy beat you on that thing. This Tyler ends up winning that thing.
Well, I was the odds-on favorite, actually, to win that show as they were looking at all the contestants. And I felt pretty good. I'll be honest. When I gave up after 25 rounds, I swore somebody else had given up already. And I couldn't believe that the remaining contestants had not given up yet. But it was a wild experience. I'll tell you, I'd never do it again. But it was a wild experience. I didn't know anything about what I was getting involved in on that one.
What was the prize?
$50,000.
Not bad.
So I mean, it was worth my time. It was worth my time. But unfortunately, if you don't win that $50,000, you're partying gifts about like $100, and they say thanks for playing.
Right. You sit in that room for how many days of your life did you give to that show?
I was in solitary confinement for I think almost 7 days, and the winner was in there 10 days.
In the amount of time, the 7 days you were in there, how long would you say you slept?
I mean, combined, probably 10 hours.
Ooh.
So on average, about an hour and a half every 24 hours.
That's unfathomable.
It was awful. And all you got was you could drink water and you could drink Gatorade. You could get as much of that as you wanted. But they chose to feed you when they wanted to and what they gave you, and they'd starve you. I lost 15 pounds in 6 days.
Now, did you have a bed to sleep on? Or it was just like, hey, if you want to take a nap, go lay down on the ground over there?
Right. They had a portable bed that they would push into it and then pull it back out when they didn't want you to sleep.
Ooh.
And if you tried to fall asleep, they'd have a baby crying over the speaker. I mean, it was disturbing. They would not allow you to sleep.
I mean, that show sounds worse than that Fear Factor. Because you were on the Fear Factor, they got rid of eating all the crazy stuff.
Well, I just got the lucky episode. I mean, there were probably in all of the seasons of Fear Factor, there might have been 4 times that somebody didn't have to eat something, and I happened to be one of those 4 shows.
Right. Now, if memory serves, you were on one where you were wearing some sort of suit, and they had the dogs come after you.
Yeah, so they've got these those police dogs, and I was on an episode where it was partners. So it was me and a partner, and you were locked into each other with a sumo suit on, trying to get through like a junkyard, trying to get, do the obstacle, and they would sick these dogs on you. And they'd latch on, and those dogs had lockjaw. They wouldn't let go of you.
Nah.
And, of course, it's a police dog. You're not allowed to kick the dog. You just basically got to drag the dog with you. And let me tell you, that was an intense.
I mean, you believe if it wasn't a police dog, if maybe it was a little foo-foo dog, that you could have punted it. Come on now.
I would have liked to have given it a shot or two at one point.
I mean, that dog was ripped onto that leg, and he was giving you a ride. I mean, I remember it pulling you to the ground. Well,
they had 2 of them. There was, I think, a German Shepherd was one of them, and the other was like a pit bull. And, man, they came at you aggressive. But, yeah, that was a wild one. But Fear Factor to me was just a really fun experience. That one, I would do that 10 times over the solitary one, for sure.
Well, that solitary was poor. And then you did, I don't remember. Now that you say Wheel of Fortune, I vaguely remember that one. But The Price is Right, I do remember where you got up on that stage and you said, well, I had a premonition, Bob.
Well, I did. I literally I knew I was going to be on that show when I went as an audience member that morning. And if people don't know what you do, you just get in the audience of Price is Right. You aren't guaranteed of being picked on. You don't know ahead of time.
No.
And they call your name, and that is a shock value of like, oh, my God, I got called down. And I got up on stage, and I had a little tete-a-tete with Bob Barker.
Ooh.
And, I asked him for Plinko, and he didn't give it to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Plinko. That's the game you need.
Oh, I wanted that game so bad. He says, well, Todd, we don't have that for you, but how about this one? And it wasn't very good.
Yeah, would you have that guy, the that one?
No, I wish I did. This one it was called Bob Barker's Bargain Bar. It was terrible.
I remember now that you said, he says, how about Bob? He could barely get that whole thing out. I mean, it was too much for him to even say.
Well, he was getting on in those years. I mean, I probably got him at the last year or two that he was on.
Ooh.
But I did get a chance, and let me tell you, up close, man, you could pull that skin. It was like elastic, his skin.
Geez. Now, right before you came on, I remember you and I having a battle about that Drew Carey, and I contend that, right, he gets that job because his agent can't find him anything else. And I said to that Pete Thompson, do you believe Carey wants that job, or that basically that's all that's left for Carey? And he agrees with me that Carey is not thrilled to be that host. He says he mails it in every day on that show.
Well, come on. As an actor or a performer or a host, to have a steady gig is really nice to have in your older age.
I'm not disputing that part of it. That I know. I said his agent says, look, I got nothing else for you. It's either this or nothing, buddy. And he's happy that he has it. But my point was, right, he's not thrilled being the host of Price is Right. He thought more of himself.
Well, I'm interested, though, because I feel like if that was true, and we did argue about this back when he first got the gig, if that was the case.
Because he does a poor job. He's a terrible host.
Well, no, but honestly, like anything, people have just adapted to him, and now people don't know any different, right? He's been on for how many years now? Because, the people who've seen him, it's like Jordan and LeBron. Nobody saw Jordan. They just heard about him. Now the younger generation just heard of Bob Barker, but they don't know about Bob Barker. So he's kind of the new face. I just feel like he would have left by now if truly he was miserable.
Well, come on, he doesn't have another job. He has no other options.
No, but he was good on a couple of he had his own TV show. I mean, he could do some stuff, I'm sure. But I also wonder, though, Gill, to do The Price is Right, you only tape that show twice a week. So he has other days to maybe do comedy in Vegas. Like, we don't know. He might do some side stuff.
He might. Breaking news, by the way, all right? Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning golf match is on. It will air live on TNT next month.
No way.
Yeah, they're going to do, I think it's Tiger and Brady against Phil and Manning. I'm not 100%. Yeah, Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning will play Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady in a golf match on Sunday, May 24th.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to reinvent themselves, right? They got to figure out different things to do.
Well, come on, that golf is coming back. They got that golf coming back June 11th. They're saying the tour resumes.
Are they really going?
Yeah, I heard the commissioner of the PGA was the mayor of Vegas.
Oh, well, good night. or he resides in Georgia, one of the two. I mean, well, the good thing about the Georgia thing is that the Masters are down there, so it looks like the Masters will be on delayed, but they'll be on.
Right, well, the Masters is moving to November.
Right, that's the date they've reset it, right?
Yeah, and then the U.S. Open, I think, is going to be in October or something like that, or late September. But yeah, the PGA made the announcement last week that they're resuming the tour. June 11th is when they're going to pick it back up with no fans, and that they hope that by late July that they can start having fans come back and start to be out there.
Wow. This is going to be an interesting time because the different places they reopen, how they reopen, different amounts of people that can be at certain things, how they're going to stretch that out. This is going to be an interesting evolution as we kind of look at the next month or so. But yeah, apparently if you and me and Pete G and Pete T want to meet up in Vegas, I think the casinos will be open next week. Let's lock and load, baby. Let's book the tickets.
Yeah, I don't think the casinos here are opening anytime close to those Vegas ones. But the mayor in Vegas, she liked those things to be open. She said, I don't know what they need to do to open them. That's not my problem. Have them do it themselves, but I like them to be open if they could. I mean, that's a great answer by her.
Yeah, I mean, guess what? I'd give the same answer. I'd love them to be open too, but I don't think it's probably the best
Right, I'd
time
like a
to
nice
do it.
restaurant to be open so I can sit down and have a meal as well, for God's sakes, but I'm not advocating it. Jeez.
No, and I will say this. I do empathize really deeply with all the work. I mean, there's so many thousands in Atlantic City and Vegas. Look, there's thousands of people out of work. I get it. And it's really tough right now. And there's no the government's not doing enough for everybody who's out of work. There's no question about that. So there's got to be some more answers without getting too political. But
the thing is, right, we got to suck it up for like 3 or 4 more weeks so that we can have a summer. Let's not, spike the ball right now and then get kind of screwed out of our summer. Just these months are kind of frivolous right now. The weather's not great. It's just kind of I know people are out of work, not making money, but you just got to hold off for like 3 or 4 more weeks so that we can. And by the way, they said they don't think they're going to get a vaccine until March of 2021. So I don't know that anybody's going to truly feel all that good going outside. But
no, it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a different life until probably next summer. That's for sure. But, if we can at least piecemeal it together.
By the way, you said you had an earthquake last night 10 minutes from your house.
It was wild. 4.0 is what they listed it at. It was just, I guess, in the area which you consider, if anybody knows Los Angeles area, in the Culver City, Ladera Heights area, which literally is about less than 10 minutes from me. I'm a little closer to the beach. And I'll tell you, I was sitting in bed. I'm watching TV, and it felt and sounded like a big pickup truck had just ran into our complex. And I'm kind of going, what the heck just happened? And then, of course, I get blitzed with texts from my buddy, did you feel that earthquake? And then we come to find out we were real close to the epicenter. Again, 4.0 is not crazy, but I think the sound is more scary than the feeling. I mean, yeah, things are shaking, but nothing fell or broke. But you feel and hear this rattling and this grinding because the ground underneath you is grinding and moving. So it's kind of a wild feeling. But, about 10 or 15 seconds, and then I was back to watching TV.
All right, we'll do it again tomorrow. Ask Mike and Todd here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, man.
Have a good one, buddy. Be safe.
All right, he's back tomorrow with another edition of Ask Mike and Todd.